So, as I've mentioned before on the show, Donald Trump's two sons, I usually call them Uday and Kusei, and one of them have a book out. Yes, that's right. The crybaby himself, Eric Trump, is on a book tour. Okay? So he's making the rounds, which means he's doing a lot of interviews and making himself look like the clown that he is. So it appears as though they're trying to make the Rose Garden and the White House look like Mar-A-Lago. So Eric Trump was doing an interview on Fox News earlier today, and I want you to listen to this moment where they're bragging about the umbrellas at the Rose Garden, and they're literally making it look like Mar-A-Lago. Have a listen to this.
And speaking of terrific, what a fantastic view across the street. That is the Beach Club. And in fact, those are the umbrellas from the Rose Garden, I believe.
Exact same umbrellas at the Rose Garden. And by the way, that beautiful flagpole right there?
Yeah.
The exact same flagpole that we have at the White House. I got a call from my father. He goes, honey, I need two great flagpoles. I want to donate them to the White House. And we're very happy to have the same Mar-a-Lago flagpole on the south and north grounds now.
Flagpoles?
Yeah, so that's what we want. We want the White House to look like Mar-a-Lago.
With big flagpoles.
Yeah, that's what we want. That Eric Trump is actually bragging about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's so pathetic.
I wish I could do the Stephen Colbert impression, you know, where he folds his upper lip under and he does Eric. Have you ever seen him do that?
I have, actually.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. What an absolute fool. By the way, Eric Trump on Fox News yesterday claimed that he was saving God. That's right. The Trumps are apparently saving Christianity. That's right. Donald Trump, his father, the guy who holds up a Bible upside down, selling them, made in China for $3, selling them for $60 in America, who can't recite one verse in the Bible. Eric Trump is claiming his family and his daddy are saving God. That's right. God.
My dad's saving God.
Because when I think about God, I think about if there's anybody in the world that can save God, it would be a 34-count felon adjudicated abuser. Have a listen to this.
Destroy us. And yet here we are, and we have this amazing peace deal on Charlie Kirk's birthday. I can't tell you how many things are lining up. I mean, think about the fact that this book came out on Charlie Kirk's birthday on the same day as we have peace in the Middle East. I mean, so many different factors are all coming together at once in the most unthinkable, unbelievable journey. You couldn't have scripted this. You could not, the wildest author could not have scripted this book and the trials and tribulations and twists and turns to get to where we are today. And look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity. We're saving God. We're saving the family unit. We're saving this nation. I mean, DEI is out the window, Benny. I mean, you no longer have Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national, for the national anthem. You no longer have, a Budweiser going woke as hell. Or all of this is dead. And yet, what do we have? We have a return to people going to church. We have a return to people, valuing their children and valuing society and believing in the white picket fence and what the American dream represents and what the American dream stands for, and American exceptionalism and peace around the world, and that people can coexist with one another without having to, pick up arms and destroy each other for no reason whatsoever, other than incompetent and egotistical governments. It's a beautiful time, and he will go to heaven for all of that. God absolutely guided this journey in ways that you'll learn and understand. I mean, it's a big part of the story, but he was there the entire time.
Yeah, so Americans don't really care too much about losing their health care coverage or losing their jobs or losing their livelihood. They care that a Colin Kaepernick might be taking a knee. That's what they really care about. Thank God during the national anthem.
And Brian, what does he mean not scripted? Project 2025 was completely scripted, and they're following it almost by the letter. And when he says he's helping Christianity, he possibly is, because there is so much bad in the world that the good people are actually having to rise up a little bit. So I kind of agree.
Don't worry about the fact that we have one of the worst jobs reports we've had in decades, and we're headed towards a recession. Don't worry about the fact that your health care is going to be taken away and your food stamps are going to be taken away. Thank God for that woke Budweiser commercial not coming back. Thank God that you don't have black NFL football players that aren't taking a knee. Listen to this Nimrod. And by the way, it doesn't even get any worse than this. Here's Eric Trump making the case that his daddy is going to heaven. Yeah, that's right. He's now because Daddy said
even Daddy said he's
Daddy
not going
said on
to
Air
heaven.
Force One that he's not
he's
not going to heaven. It's one of the few things that I agree with Donald Trump on. And now Eric is claiming, oh no, Daddy is heaven bound. Have a listen to this.
President Trump saying he's not sure he's heaven bound.
Well, then it's hard to believe that, I finally think the siege was worth it, if that makes sense, right? Everything they did to us was worth it yesterday when I saw what he did. And make no mistake, he is heaven bound. He's probably too humble in a certain way to say that. I can say that as a son because I've seen the hand of God on him for a very long time, guiding him through the most unthinkable, dark process. And then we get to a day like yesterday, which is, was so beautiful. But he is heaven bound. And I can tell you, maybe the one thing he does that might have, influenced heaven is, I think there's a lot less people going to heaven, meaning they're going to heaven slower because you stop the death and destruction around the world. I've personally witnessed him stop wars.
Yeah, so when I think of the word humble, the first person I think about is Donald J. Trump. I mean, this is it's almost like a Saturday Night Live skit. Yeah, Trump is a very humble guy, very humble. Give me the Nobel Peace Prize. I deserve this. I deserve credit for ending 25 wars. I'm the best. I'm the smartest. I mean,
the only thing that he did good in the Middle East, and we don't know if it was Donald Trump, is 20 hostages were released. And it was very emotional, and I watched it, and they were returned to their families, and it was a great thing. But if, later on in the show, maybe, I don't know if we're going to get to it, but there are so many things that are unsettled and not going correctly. They let 7,000 Hamas fighters back into the Gaza Strip.
Yeah,
and
we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I'll just stop there. But there's so many things. And to try to say that he doesn't talk with hubris most of the time is just a complete departure from reality.
And here's something that drives me nuts. There's a lot of things that the far right are doing that drive me nuts, but every single time something bad happens to somebody, whether it be a Charlie Kirk, who I don't care about, or whether it be anything that happens, they always use the term they instead of the person that was responsible. For example, like when the first assassination attempt of Donald Trump, which was, by the way, by executed or attempted to be executed by a 22-year-old Republican, they said they, trying to paint the picture that the entire left wanted Donald Trump assassinated, which obviously is not true. And now, Eric Trump, again, using the term they and making himself the victim, trying to compare himself to Charlie Kirk, saying they want Eric Trump off the stage. They. Have a listen to this.
He gets in the car. I'm in the car right next to him. We're going up the FDR Drive in New York, and he looks at me. He goes, honey, I'm not sure how, but somehow we're going to win this whole thing. And he meant the trial, but he also meant the presidency. And I said to him, I go, Dad, it's either going to be 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it's either going to be the White House, or you and I are both in a prison cell for doing absolutely nothing wrong. But they wanted us gone. They wanted our voices gone. They wanted us off that stage. No different than they wanted Charlie Kirk off that stage. They wanted me off that stage. They wanted my father off that stage. They wanted our family off that stage. They wanted us bankrupt. They wanted us voiceless. That's why they gagged us. That's why they took us off of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Greta, they wanted us gone, and they used the full power of the United States government to do it. They used the full power of the mainstream media to do it.
So first of all, my question to Eric would be, who's they? There's no evidence that Joe Biden or anybody in Joe Biden's administration tried to do anything to you. That there's no evidence of that. Who's they? Which Democrats are you referring to? Now, I'll be the first one to admit I'm not even a Democrat, but there's nothing more I'd love to see than Eric Trump gagged and deported to Gaza. I mean,
Have
I'll
you
be
ever
honest.
said anything like
that's
that,
exactly
Brian?
that's exactly what I would want for Eric Trump.
Have you ever said, well, either I'm going to get my own radio show and podcast or I'm going to jail? One or the other. It could be, it's a close call. I've never said that about anything in my entire life.
Let's be very clear on most of MAGA and the Trump family. They are a bunch of bitches. That's what they are. Let's be very clear on that. Okay, they want to do this to us. They want to do this. They did this. They did that.
They wanted me off the stage.
I mean, it's so. Listen, first of all, I wouldn't go near any stage where Eric Trump is speaking because he's a complete imbecile. Okay, that's number one. I don't care what stage Eric Trump is on, as long as it's not a stage that I'm anywhere near or watching. Okay, I mean, look what they're doing to Bad Bunny or whatever his name is.
Yeah, they're trying to create contempt for the person.
I mean,
So
it's a
everybody who
joke.
wants Bad Bunny off the stage is they, because they don't want him on the stage, right? Isn't it they who are going to have a competing halftime show? Isn't they who want to silence him? Is it just me?
Eric Trump is very similar to his father in a lot of different ways, and then I'll end it at this, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about this complete imbecile clown. Eric Trump has never accomplished anything in his life other than stealing money from his father's charity. Eric Trump has never done anything in his life except play the victim. He's a complete fool. He's never done anything for society, only out for himself and his family, just like his daddy. Okay, Eric Trump is the biggest crybaby on the planet. And let me tell you something. If I had his book in my hands right now and I needed to go to the bathroom, I would use it as toilet paper. That's what I think about Eric Trump. That's what I think about his stupid book, and that's what I think about most of his family
He's just
members.
grifting on a higher level, Brian. That's all he's doing.
This
is major grifting. They're against me. You have to buy my book. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. I'll take his book and I'll use it as toilet paper, even if I do get hemorrhoids. Kevin Hassett, if you don't know who Kevin Hassett is, another MAGA clown within the Trump administration. As you know, the new October jobs report, again, was not very positive for Donald Trump. I think the last number that I saw, over 50,000 private sector jobs were lost. The headed in the wrong direction. It's not just meat and beef that is way up. Now, I understand that eggs prices have fallen, and gas prices from this point last year are only down 2 cents. So the idea that gas has been plummeting, inflation as a whole has been up for the last 5 months. Now, I want you to listen to Kevin Hassett and what he said about the latest jobs report, because this is just blatant corruption. There's really no other way around it. Everyone in Donald Trump's administration knows where the real numbers are at. They know the October jobs report was horrible, but I want you to listen to Kevin Hassett, being the MAGA buffoon that he is, trying to spin it on national television this morning.
And the household survey wasn't conducted in October, so we're going to get half the employment report. We'll get the jobs part, but we won't get the unemployment rate, and that'll just be for 1 month. But yeah, it is true that we probably will maybe be able to concoct something, but we'll never actually know for sure what the unemployment rate was in October.
That is a complete lie. That is blatant corruption. Everybody in this administration knows exactly what these numbers are and how horrible these numbers are. And they're willing to make any excuse to cover them up, just like they're doing with Jeffrey Epstein. Kevin Hassett is lying to the American people, just like virtually everybody else in the Donald Trump administration. It is pathetic. And you want to talk about America first. You want to talk about everyday, hardworking Americans, or even many of people who have voted for Donald Trump, many of whom are not wealthy people. And then you have Eric Trump on national TV yesterday. I've been very clear what I think about Eric and Don Jr. I called them Uday and Kusei. Listen to the way Eric Trump is talking about Bitcoin. Keep in mind, these are when people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're suffering. Many people need food stamps. They need their health care coverage, Medicaid. And Eric Trump, being the doofus that he is talking about sending $500 million worth of Bitcoin on a Sunday night. Wow, really America first, ladies and gentlemen, really talking about all of Donald Trump's constituents. Have a listen to this.
There's no reason at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon I shouldn't be able to send out a Swift wire transfer. Right now you can't. I try and make a transfer every single week, and you're trying to push before the 5 o'clock deadline to either receive money or to get it out. How is that modern day finance? You can send $500 million worth of Bitcoin on a Sunday night at 11 p.m. while having a glass of wine with your wife for virtually zero fees. How is the system this lethargic? Why does it take you 120 days to get go through Know Your Customer with your bank if you want to get a home mortgage? It doesn't make any sense. Cryptocurrency is going to fix every single one of these issues, and Bitcoin is digital gold. Bitcoin is going to be one of the greatest stores of value we've ever seen, ever.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you cleared that up, because most people in this country can just send $500 million on a dime. Thank you for really, really getting to know the people who voted for your dad and middle America, the people out there that are struggling to put food stamps or keep food stamps and put food on the table for their families, the people that have lost their jobs, all the farmers out there, the people that can't even afford prescription medication. And you have Eric Trump on national television talking about sending $500 million in Bitcoin while your family makes billions of dollars off of this crypto scheme that you and your family have put together. You are some of the worst people on the planet. And you have Eric Trump. No, he's not talking about people that are struggling living paycheck to paycheck. He's not talking about the government shutdown where for at least 2 to 3 paychecks, people were not able to receive money, even though many of them still got up in the morning and went to work. No, he's not talking about those people. The people that are struggling to put food on the table, the people that are afraid that they're not going to be able to afford their health care because of your stupid father in this administration. But you want to talk about $500 million of Bitcoin and sending it on a Sunday night? Do you think people can kind of like associate themselves with that? Oh, yeah, I know what Eric Trump is talking about. I tried to send $500 million in Bitcoin the other day. The hell are you doing, you buffoon? You think people can associate with that? A $500 million payment? This is how out of touch these people are. And it's always the MAGA Republicans that are talking about lefties and Democrats being out of touch, right? The liberal elitist, right? Go to Mar-A-Lago. Those are the people that Donald Trump hangs out with. They're usually middle-aged, wealthy stiffs who want to make America white again. Go to Mar-a-Lago. Tell me if you see everyday people. No, the people you see at Mar-a-Lago are the people that can relate to what Eric Trump is talking about, which is sending $500 million in a Bitcoin on a Sunday night. 99.99999% of the population cannot relate to that. But Eric Trump, being the doofus that he is, still talks about it. And they're talking about Eric Trump or Don Jr. running for president. Are you kidding me? That might even be worse than their bigot father. That might even be worse. But you see, Republicans, again, so many of them are so complicit. They continue to make excuses for Orange Man. And they continue to lie. Now, as you know, Leonard, the right is known for spreading conspiracy theories, right? Conspiracy theories about COVID,
Yeah.
conspiracy theories about vaccines, conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. Listen, I can go on and on and on. Conspiracy theories about January 6th. But Eric Trump now has a new one. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. So Eric Trump made another one of his TV appearances yesterday. And he's accusing Jack Smith of doing something that I've never heard. I don't know. I mean, he's accusing Jack Smith of doing. Who was that cop in the O.J. Simpson investigation that was accused of planting evidence? I'm forgetting his name.
Oh, man.
Racist cop. Come on, you're a cop, Leonard. You got to know what I'm
forget
talking.
his name.
Anyway, somebody,
a long time ago.
Somebody in the chat can maybe.
It's right on the tip of my
Furman, Mark Furman. Thank you
Mark
for those in
Furman.
the chat. So basically, Eric Trump, because, you know, Mark Furman was accused, even though it was never proven, that he planted evidence at the O.J. Simpson murder scene. That was never proven, by the way. Eric Trump is accusing Jack Smith of doing that to his father. Folks, I am not making this up. This is what Eric Trump had to say yesterday.
CNN, and you were part of it at the time, they were relentless in accusing us of literally Russia collusion, which was totally false. We had nothing to do with Russia. They weaponized every AG. They weaponized every single DA in the country. Letitia James, you know her very well because she went after your brother and she went after your entire family. Yeah, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith, who was planting classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. They were raiding our houses. They were raiding Melania's room. They were raiding Barron's room. I became the most subpoenaed person in American history. I've never gotten so much as a traffic ticket because I happened to run the Trump organization and I didn't have the same congressional and executive branch protections that my father did. They took him off the ballot in Colorado. They took him off the ballot in Maine. They took us off of Twitter. They took us off of Facebook. They took us off of Instagram. I 91 indictments, right? I mean, how many gag orders were there in that period of time? And then after all of that was done, they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him in Butler, Pennsylvania, and then they tried to kill him again at a golf course. And then you saw exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk last week, where I lost a good friend, somebody I'd been on that stage with 100 times. They put our family, they put my father, they put me under siege. They put this nation under siege with their garbage and their games. Also, they could get a couple extra votes, and it's wrong, and the nation needs to know that, and the people watching the show needs to know what these people did, because it's illegal, it's undemocratic, and it's the last thing that should ever happen to the United States of America.
Okay, so first of all, Eric, your father is a 34-count convicted felon, if you want to talk about what is illegal. Second of all, when you say they tried to do this to your father, you're speaking about a 22-year-old registered Republican who came from a MAGA family. If you're speaking about they, why don't you talk about they being him? But, you know, they use the term they all the time. They do the same thing with the Charlie Kirk assassination and try to paint it on the left. Number two, that's news to me that Eric Trump is claiming that Jack Smith, quote, planted classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. First of all, your daddy defied a subpoena for a year, you dope. And second of all, there is zero evidence to support the claim that he planted evidence. In fact, your father is the one who admitted that he had it stashed at Mar-a-Lago in restrooms and on a stage and defied a subpoena
And
for a
admitted it
year.
was classified.
What is he talking about? That Jack Smith somehow planted these classified documents there when his own father has admitted it?
Brian, he sounds very angry, very upset. And by the way, I love Stephen Colbert when he does the Eric Trump impression. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's pretty funny. But it sounds like this is all, whataboutism, and look what they did to us, and we're the victims, when they, in fact, are the aggressors. They're a wolf in wolf's clothing, in my opinion. So I don't know where he's trying to say that Jack Smith carried boxes of evidence against
That's
his
what he's
dad
saying.
into the house.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the whole thing is on video. The entry, the trucks outside, the boxes. They took still pictures and videos of where the boxes were, and he sounds like he's
My
unhinged.
daddy. It sounds like Meghan McCain. My daddy, my father. Always playing the victim. I'm so sick of these people.
My daddy said he didn't do it.
My
He said he
daddy,
put that
I'm
in
so
there.
sick of these people. Why don't you just keep on going with your crypto scandal and billions of dollars that you're stealing from the American people?